home wasn't built in a day.
Building a house or renovating is complicated, and it's likely to be one of the biggest financial decisions you ever make.
Piece of cake.
And unless you're skilled enough or crazy enough to do it yourself, you're going to need a builder to manage the project, the budget and the sequence of trades.
So if I'm using a builder, what can I do to protect myself?
Well,
I can build your house, mate.
Deal.
don't just say yes. Choosing a builder is a crucial decision and it requires research. Talk to architects or people you know who've used builders. Make sure you meet with several potential builders and ask each for a list of former clients that you can speak to.
Go right ahead. My clients always end up with a smile on their face.
A good working relationship with your builder is a key to avoiding problems in the long term. So take the time to get to know them and make sure you're compatible.
I didn't even do that much research before I got married.
Get detailed written quotes from at least 3 builders.
I can build this for $29.99.
Deal.
Hang on, it's not that simple. To get a proper quote from a builder, you'll need to give them detailed plans. This will include engineering documents and specifications for the materials and finishes you want. If you want, say, double glazing or extra insulation or luxury finishes, this can make a big difference to your final quote.
I'll build it out of Lego bricks and the windows, plastic.
I'm trying to give you a thumbs up.
Getting more detail for your builder, from your architect or draftsperson or engineer or surveyor, can cost you more up front, but it does reduce the risk of problems in the long run. The more specific your plans are, the more accurate the builder's quote can be.
Oh, you want to get a pool, hey? With all the excavation, it'll be about 70 grand.
No, I just want you to put a piece of blue Lego on the ground.
Oh, in that case, $3?
Review each quote carefully. Quotes for building work may vary hugely. Choosing the cheapest option may be okay, but if one quote has much less detail or a much lower price than the others, you should be asking why.
Oh, you wanted it made of Lego, not Legos. That does make more sense.
You'll need to check that your builder has the right licence.
And you are definitely a builder.
How else would I get this mug?
Don't just assume the licence number they give you is legit. You don't want to end up like one Victorian who didn't check and ended up telling a builders tribunal.
He looked like a builder. He was short and stocky and came to the meeting dressed in bib and brace overalls.
You need to check that the name is exactly the same, that the licence is current and that it covers the actual work that's being done. Luckily, all this information is available online and it's at one simple website. No, it isn't, thanks to Federation.
Each state and territory has its own separate website and they all work slightly differently.
Australia.
Well, your license checks out.
Well, you're wearing overalls, so
Let's get to the contract.
Maybe we can just shake on it.
No, you can't. A written contract is mandatory for all major home building works. Though helpfully the dollar value when work becomes major is, different in each state and territory.
True freedom is having very similar laws with tiny annoying differences.
Let's have different railways.
And the same goes for building insurance.
It's compulsory in every single state for work over a particular, but slightly different, dollar value.
Not in Tasmania, it's not.
Go figure.
But no matter where you live in this stupid federation of ours, it's vital that you thoroughly inspect the foundations upon which your whole project rests. The terms of your building contract.
Wait, what about the actual foundations?
Yeah, you should check those too. New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland have a free standard form home building contract you can download. Each has plenty of warnings about pitfalls for consumers. Building industry associations also have their own standard form contracts, which you generally have to pay for, although your builder may provide their preferred one.
I use this contract.
Even I'm concerned you've circled the word con.
A major building contract must set out the contract price. This is generally expressed as a fixed price, which means...
Which means the cost cannot go up.
No. And that's one of the first big risks with building. The price can always increase.
But we agreed on the price and the builder has signed it.
Yes, and for those quoted items, the price is fixed. But the contract sets out many other situations where price increases are allowed. Some things, like tax hikes or new council regulations, you can't do much about. But there are 2 big areas where you can control cost blowouts if you're careful up front.
Provisional sums.
Provisional sums are cost estimates for items that the builder can't give an exact price on, like groundworks.
It's hard to know what's under here. Could be tree roots, sewage pipes, could even be a kid's bedroom floor.
Builders have to use reasonable care and skill when making allowances for provisional costs. Figures must be based on the available information. Making that info available to your builder can cost you more up front.
I paid for a soil report, an engineer's report, and a geotechnical survey.
I just kicked the ground a bit.
But it can avoid expensive surprises, like the client who was charged an extra $120,000 when their excavations hit rock.
What?
Don't worry, the building tribunal said that was a bit too much.
Oh, what a relief.
So they reduced it to $110,000. You see, once you've spent years getting your plans through council and arranging quotes and arguing between toffee fingers and blind date,
Toffee fingers!
you might not be ready to specify every item in your house.
Do you know exactly which model number of toilet you want?
I don't care! It's just a toilet!
Not knowing the exact price can be fine, but you should definitely check that the allowances for prime cost items are enough to cover the level of luxury that you're going to want when you finally go out to buy something.
We only allowed $2.50 for toilets. You said you didn't care.
Yes, but now that I've seen this magical toilet, I must have it!
You can change your mind,
Ooh, a bidet!
or even add something totally new. But remember, as well as paying the additional cost of that new item, you'll also have to pay the builder's margin on top of that.
The what?
For any cost not covered by the original contract, the builder is entitled to add a percentage or a margin to cover their overheads, supervision and profit.
How much is it?
The builder's margin must be included in your contract,
Here's mine.
which you definitely would have read by now.
Is that a heated toilet seat?
Make sure you check the builder's margin in your contract. As a guide, fair trading says you should question any builder's margin that exceeds 20%. So pay attention to provisional sums, prime cost items and the builder's margin when you're negotiating your contract. And stay alert once the building starts, because costs can escalate quickly. But all variations have to be in writing and signed by both parties. Stay across this, otherwise you'll get bill shock later on.
Wait, $1 million?
You do remember when you asked me to put an extra story on and add a heliport, right?
Oh, yeah.
Your contract will set out how much you have to pay at defined stages of your build. For instance, the base stage, the framing, or lockup. This helps ensure you only pay for work that has been completed and don't find yourself out of pocket if the builder doesn't finish the job. It's also your responsibility to get an accredited certifier to inspect the work done at certain stages. Failure to do this might mean that you don't get a permit or certificate to occupy your house.
But I haven't even approved the slab yet.
You should not be paying for part of your house if it hasn't passed inspection yet.
You're starting to get annoying.
What should I do if there are defects? I just said that.
When your builder says your house has reached practical completion, you should inspect it and inform them in writing of any defects you find.
I don't think this is complete.
Don't make the final payment until they fix those defects. Even after you've moved in and made your final payment and the builder has disappeared, they still have a statutory obligation to fix any defects after completion. Although how long that lasts for depends on where you live.
It's 6 or 10 years in most states, but only 2 years in New South Wales and 6 months in Queensland for minor or non-structural defects. So if you want to build something crap, do it in Queensland. Oi!
Depending on the work being done, building is also covered by the consumer guarantees in the Australian Consumer Law. If so, services have to be done with due care and skill, and goods must be of acceptable quality or fit for the described purpose.
This is not acceptable quality.
At least you're in.
But I miss Christmas.
There'll be another one.
When?
Oh yeah, that's another source of conflict. Your contract will have a start date and a length of time for the build, even though it always seems to take longer.
Even for me.
Builders are entitled to a reasonable extension of time for things like weather, lack of availability of materials, or changes to the plans. If this happens, the builder has to notify you in writing.
We lost 6 days to rain and 10 because a child kept stepping on the house.
If you think the delay is not legit, you should formally dispute it at the time.
I don't accept dog ate my building supplies.
This is especially relevant if the contract includes a cost penalty for delays.
Woohoo!
But cost penalties can cut both ways. Check if the contract imposes penalties on you for delays that you might cause.
But I'm not the builder.
Sure, but some owners try to save money by taking on part of the job themselves, like supplying tiles or putting in a kitchen. If delays occur because of jobs you took on or variations that you made, you could end up being liable.
All those delays were because you wanted to change the whole thing to Meccano.
I'll see you in the appropriate dispute resolution body.
Building disputes.
If you can't resolve a dispute directly with your builder, contact your local Consumer Affairs Department or fair trading body. If they can't mediate a resolution, they can point you to the Builders Tribunal in your state or territory.
Hey, I've just discovered that my house is made of plastic bricks.
But isn't it just covered by building insurance?
Sadly, building insurance is only a last resort. It only covers you if your builder goes broke, disappears or dies.
Except in Queensland.
Why?
I don't know. I've been dead for 100 years.
Building is a complex and expensive undertaking, so take care when you choose your builder, make sure you know your statutory rights and read that contract really carefully.
It's just like on the box.
Can I live in the box?